Okay, good evening, Rabotai. It's great to be back. Birshut Arav. Ramadan asked me to cover up for him last second. And it's always a pleasure to be back. See a lot of young individuals here. And because we have such a young and vibrant crowd, I would like to hear everyone's input on tonight's shiur. Okay, so I want to tell you a story that happened a few years ago in Lag BaOmer in Israel. And I want to hear your input, okay? It's very important over here to understand the clarity of what we're trying to do, and then try to find the source inside and try to see what we come out with. All right, so Lag BaOmer. We know that in Israel, it's a thing. People actually fly in from all over the world. There's a minhag to go to Meron, to the kever of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and to Litpalel over there. People have seen Yeshuot over there. And many people from all over Israel and from all over the world, they fly to Meron. It's a thing. What happened? There was a bus driver. His name was Reuven. Reuven had a nice big bus. Was able to carry on it about 50 people in his coach bus. And he decided that he wanted to make some money. He was a bus driver for a local bus company, and he decided a few weeks before Lag BaOmer he's going to put out posters and flyers all over the city. This was in Tzfat, all over the city, and he said, I'm going to have a service from Tzfat to Meron on Lag BaOmer. Come 9 o'clock, meet me at this place, and this street, and this avenue, in this junction. Come meet me over there, and first come, first serve. Okay, so he spent 250 shekel putting out these flyers and advertising this bus ride that he was going to do from Tzfat to Meron. On the flyer it said, it'll be 50 shekel a ride, right? So let's say 100 shekel a ride. 100 shekel times 50, how much is that? 5,000. In his head, he's like, okay, I'm going to make $5,000 out of this ordeal. Okay, beautiful. He puts up signs throughout the city, and then another bus driver, Shimon, sees the flyer, and he goes, a bus leaving from Tzfat to Meron on Lag BaOmer at 9 in the morning. Okay. I also have a bus. Thinks about it. He's like, listen, this is a good opportunity. Lag BaOmer day. Shimon wakes up early, takes his bus, and travels to that very juncture, that very intersection, and gets there at 8:30. It's at 9 o'clock, first come first, he gets there at 8:30. He sees a whole line of passengers wanting to go ahead and come to this bus. Okay? He opens up the door to the bus and says, the bus to Meron has arrived. Everyone who's there obviously loads onto the bus, goes onto the bus, and everyone's singing, everyone's happy. Everyone goes up to this. You go to Meron, and at 5 to 9, he closes the door and drives away up to Meron. A few seconds later, Reuven pulls up with his bus, all excited to greet his passengers who he is going to take them or was going to take them to Meron. And to his dismay, he realizes that no one's here. And he's like, what? What in the world is going on? How come no one wants to come to Meron this year? So he waits. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. After 20 minutes, he's starting to sweat. What's going on over here? No one's going to Meron this year? And he goes up and he sees there was a local supermarket over there. He goes, can I ask you a question? Like no one came over here. There was no population that came. Like, where? They came a half hour ago. There was a whole bus that took the whole group of people. There were like 50 people here. Huh? There's a bus before. What time did the bus come? 8:30. I was like, what? Can I see? I want to see your camera. Can I get your cameras? I know that bus driver. That's Shimon. I know him. He works for another company. Oh, look at this afiris. What did he do to me? Oh my gosh. He gets upset. He goes to the Bedin and he makes a din Torah. He goes, Rabbanim, this guy Shimon, he stole my property, he stole my customers, he stole my money, he caused me a nezek, he took my clients, he used my advertisements. I want to be toveh him 5,250 shekel. 5,000 for the bus ride, 100 shekel, 50 each, and another 250 shekel for the reklama, for the advertisements. The Rabbanim thought about it, and they thought about it, and they thought about it, and I wanted to ask, Rabotai, what do you think?
There's only 50 people that want to go to Meron.
What?
So there's only 50 people that want to go to Meron.
Okay, good question. What's your name? Binyamin. So there are a lot of people that want to go to Meron. This individual, most people that go to Meron, the way they do it, either they take public transportation, or they drive to like some sort of field, big open field, and from there, they have shuttles that take you to up the mountain. I've been there a few times. It's a very cool experience. Or when I go with my father, he used to have a VIP pass. I used to go all the way to the kever with the car, but that's only on special occasions. But this bus driver was doing a service. This guy Ruvain, he had a bus. He was a bus driver in Israel. The intercity buses, they're coach buses. They're not regular city buses like what we have. So he was able to go ahead and do this service, and he was providing his own service. 50-50. Oh, okay. Why? The guy actually drove. Okay. But Reuven claims that you stole my passengers. 50-50. Well, based on what? I'm just curious. Like, based on what? Who's getting 50 for what? Who's getting 50 for what? You say he advertised and he took? That's all you want to say? 50? Why is that worth 50-50? Why not 25-75? I'm just like challenging you. So if it's just gas, maybe just pay the gas and give the rest of give the rest to him who spent on advertising. I'm just wondering where you got the 50-50 from. How did you split that? No, there's still a big machloket. Imagine what happened to you. You say 50-50. You stole 5,000 shekel, 25. You want to take 2,500 plus 250 divided by 2? That's what you want to take? Say that's no machloket over there?
And he pays him only 250. Yeah, he pays him 250.
He pays him 250. Why only 250?
Stole his advertisement. That's the only thing he did is steal his advertisement.
Okay, so again, we have 50-50, and then we have 250. As of now, he only did was advertising.
That's all he stole.
Okay.
It was wrong, but he didn't really take from him. He didn't really steal from him.
He didn't really steal. He didn't really take. So he should pay 250. Can I challenge you?
Just for the advertisement, not the
does someone want to challenge before I challenge? Would anyone like to challenge what these two gentlemen are saying? Okay, let's say over the case again. Just quickly, there was a bus driver. His name was Ruvain. He was making a service, he put out flyers, spent 250 shekel, putting flyers out, telling people we're going to take a bus to Meron, come to this spot. Another bus driver named Shimon saw those flyers, decided to come a half hour earlier, and basically said the bus to Meron has arrived, and a whole load of passengers, he said around 50 passengers, 100 shekel a ticket, loaded onto his bus. And then when Reuven came a few minutes later, he saw no one's there anymore. He's like, wait, he used my advertisements against me, took my business, and wanted to sue him in court. And they were in court for 5,250 shekel. 5,000 for the rides, 250 for the advertising. And the question we're trying to understand is, who is the din with? How do you got to do that? So we had one person say 50-50. We had a rebuttal on that. We have another three people saying over here that Shimon owes Reuven 250 for the advertisements.
What's this nezek called? What's the 7 nezek called?
It's stealing. It would potentially be called stealing. No?
What did he take?
What did he take? Okay. What did he take? Okay, good question. What did he take? Good question. What did he take?
He just saw the flyer. He went out. He went to pick some passengers up.
Okay.
That guy just helped him out.
Okay.
It was a sleazy move, but
It was a sleazy move, but so therefore only 250. Okay. Does anyone want to comment to that? Does anyone want to challenge that? Yeah.
He should give his whole to the original guy that came up with the idea. I like that.
You're saying he has a right to sue 5,250 shekel,
he didn't do the work.
and you actually do another 5,000 not doing it again. Okay, but hold on. Okay, so he's saying the whole money, but you have a okay. Respond. Okay, so respond to him. Don't respond to me.
He didn't do the work at the end of the day. They're not the one that drove them.
He's saying okay.
His idea. Right, but
His idea was to take them into Meron. You're right. 5,000 shekel.
he sold the idea to the only the same price for the people that were meant for his bus. He didn't tell them, guys, this is not that bus. I'm doing it on my own.
That's right. He just said this is the bus to Meron.
Yeah, he deceived the people.
Okay, but hold on. What was your name again? Baruch Hai. Who said sleazy move? Yeah. So respond to him.
What did he say?
He's saying you should pay the whole 5,200 because he stole money from him. So reply to him not to.
He never said I'm Ruben. He never said I'm taking people to Meron. Should have done about it better.
He doesn't own that spot.
Oh, I'm good. One second. One second.
The guy's idea.
I have just as legal right to be there with the bus as you do. You just
He took the idea. He
stole a
took
$5,000 idea.
And he took the
Doesn't
money
matter.
that was meant
You
for
put the idea to the public. I didn't tell you to do it.
That's always
You
great.
could have sent out a WhatsApp message. I would never know about it. You just put it public.
Okay, it seems like what they're telling. What's your name? Igor. It seems like what they're trying, what these guys are trying to say, and I think you could respond back to them. But it seems like they're trying to say 250. You're saying 5,250 plus another 5,000 for a knas. But you'll leave that aside. You're saying that you took his idea. No pronouns. Shimon took Reuven's idea, used his advertising against him, and therefore should pay the full amount. It seems like what they're saying, these three gentlemen over here are saying, that the idea doesn't belong to anyone. There's no rights on idea. Like, do you have rights on customers? Do you have rights on people? And therefore, they say only pay the 250 for the advertisements.
Great. Had he not seen the flyer, would he still come out with the bus and say, I'm going to take it to Meron?
Of course not.
That's the question. There you go.
Of course not. But they want to say, despite that, you're right. Even if Shimon only did this because he saw the flyer, Reuven has no rights, no monetary rights to the pockets of all 50 people. That's what they're trying to say. And therefore, they want to say only 250. But you could respond back to them on that 250. Do you want to try to respond to them on that 250? No. Okay, yes.
Yeah, I feel like from a broader public policy perspective, it's like at the time of Mabul. People would steal less than what's required and say, halakha is okay. And I don't think it creates the right type of society. So you have to think about it, right? If you want to have a just society, then maybe you should hold them liable.
The problem is, in the Torah, at least when Dayanim sit down and they judge, they're not always judging only what's moral or what's not. When we talk about a chiyuv gezela or a entitlement of gezela, the question that comes up to the head of a dayan or a rabbi is, there's a chiyuv, where the Torah says, v'heshivet gezela asher gazal, which means anytime, let's say I steal this from you, I have a chiyuv, something called a chiyuv hashava. I have a chiyuv to return this amount. Sorry, that's not a good idea. Let's say I steal your watch from you, okay? Let's say I steal this from you. How much is this worth? Let's say it was worth $500. I owe you $5,000 or whatever. It's 500. I owe you that money. So it's not just like a propriety thing. It's also a technical thing. Could we say that there is a financial claim that Reuven owes that money to Shimon? You're right. From a propriety perspective, you're right. It's not a nice thing. We condemn it. We're not saying that people should do it. The question is there a legal claim?
So when you have the same person stealing at night or stealing during the day, we do say that the one who steals during the day is worse, right?
So that's not us. That's the Torah. The Torah put a knas. The problem is we cannot talk about penalties. That's not in our jurisdiction. We're trying to understand, is there a chiyuv over here? Is there a monetary chiyuv? penalties, even Dayanim cannot do penalties because we don't have the jurisdiction. We don't have the authority. Even Dayanim don't have the authority to talk about penalties. So I don't want to talk about penalties. I want to talk about stealing. I want to talk about, is there an Isser D'Oraita over here of stealing? No. You want to say no? No on anything? I'll get to you in a second. It could be Nimin also. But no on anything or no on the 250? Where are you holding in this whole thing?
Did he steal it? The case what you said, you came early and everyone was already there. You collected everyone and they just left. He felt the demand which was already there. The other guy couldn't fulfill the demand.
And therefore you're saying nothing at all. Not even the 250. Okay, so I want to take that. So basically he's really challenging you three. I say even the 250, I think he wants to use your logic I don't know about against you, but he wants to use it even more.
50, but I think he doesn't know of anything. Why?
Oh, you want to say nothing? Oh, so you're agreeing with him.
Because the guy had scheduled it, let's say 8 o'clock. The guy came at 7:30. 8 o'clock is his. 7:30 is not his.
Let me ask you a question. Is anything his?
Why were people there a half hour
I'm
early?
just saying, in terms of the advertisement, if you want to say he took from the advertisement, he didn't take from 8 o'clock. He wasn't there at 8 o'clock.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, interesting. He wants. Okay, fine. Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
So the thing as is, technically there was nothing stolen. It's not a nice thing to do. You didn't steal anything. You can't cash for anything. But is there a prohibition of opening up a competing business?
Oh, that's exactly where we're going to get to. Yeah, very good. He's talking about encroachment. We're going to talk about the B'ezras Hashem when we look at in the source sheets inside. Talk about the idea of encroachment. How does encroachment work exactly? I want to be able to underline
What? A store opening up?
a store right here. Yeah,
If Amazon, for example, has 2 days free shipping, that's their idea.
yeah.
Some other company came out and said, well, also 2 days free shipping. Amazon can't sue them and say that you're taking my idea.
Exactly. So the question that I think that, what's your name? Uriel, I think is tiny. What? Gavriel is tiny, and I say Ephraim. Ephraim is also saying the claim on to the 250. You could also shake that as well. Of you used my advertisements against me. Yes, but what is that? What are advertisements? If I advertise that I'm going to be giving a shiur tonight in Kilad Avodat Hashem, and someone next door they're saying, what is the legal entity of an advertisement? I could go ahead and we could open up that discussion as well. What is an advertisement? It's mine. It belongs to me. The fact that I said that I'm doing this and I'm charging it, that means it belongs to me. So even the 250, I want to take Gavriel's point and Ephraim's point and try to mention even more. Maybe we could even throw the whole thing out and say there's nothing over there at all. Yeah, Binyamin.
I would say that there's also Yoni because the guy Shimoni came in and says, I am the van.
He didn't say I'm the van. He said the bus to Meron has arrived. He didn't say that I'm Reuven.
Yeah.
He was very specific with his words.
He didn't lie.
That's right. He's a slazzy individual.
He didn't come at 9.
That's right. He came in 8:30. That's right. Yeah.
He said,
One second.
bus. What's the bus?
The bus.
The bus that people are expecting that see on the flag. Not the bus that you...
Yeah. Exactly. Very good. Yes. Both of you.
Even if you would say that you're full charge, why would you have 5,250? I'd just say it's 5,000 because if he would have done it himself, he wouldn't have got 5,250. He would have just got 5,000.
Okay. I guess because that's a good point.
But he's going to need to have an advertisement.
Make it back.
Right. So if he's going to get all the money back in the court case,
So if he made the money, he would have made 5,000 minus 250, but he lost 5,250. So even though he wouldn't have gained as much, he lost 5,000.
he was okay with losing 250.
He would have made 47.
Right. So
5,000.
Yeah.
and
Losing the 50, he lost 5,000.
so if he wins the case, then he should only get 5,000.
No, he get 5,000.
You should work for the insurance company.
Not a bad.
But yeah, okay, I hear. But I guess what your friend is saying is, he's saying you use my advertisement against me. He's saying you use my advertisement against me. That 250 you took from me, I want you to go ahead and pay me that. Okay, but I hear what I hear what you were trying to say. You're trying to say that he wouldn't have made that. He wouldn't have made that. But I guess let's do the other way around. Would he? Let's say he just spent $250 on that, and no one came. Would he be happy with? Would he be comfortable with that? Right. So yeah. So that adds a little more to what you're saying. Is like he himself maybe would have been. The fact that someone took it from him, he wants to charge him. What is he trying to do? He's trying to say you used it. So he's trying to say you took my $250, you used it for yourself, pay me for that. You got hana from my $250. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to say you enjoyed from my $250, you got pleasure from it, it made you another $5,000. So pay me, and how did you get that $5,000? Because of my $250.
That's the reason why they should at least give him $250 then.
No. Okay, fine. Okay, I convinced you. Very good. But hold on. But at the same time, what you could tell me back is that he himself, like what I said before, if he would have invested $250 and not gotten anything in return, he would have been content with it. In other words, meaning that advertising doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get something out of it.
Right. But
Yeah.
he used it, so he pays you. So he pays you back. If you offer a service and no one uses it, then you don't. But if someone uses your service, they have to pay for you.
But was he using his service?
He paid $250 and then he used his $250.
But is that a service? Is that something? Is that claimable? Did he know he was gonna? Let's say Shimon did not get anyone, right? Let's say Shimon did not get anyone. So then he would also be able to say, I used you. What?
Shimon didn't pay for the flyer.
Shimon didn't pay for anything.
A large company buys a plot, like a billboard, a blank billboard to put an advertisement, and then a different company puts it up before they go put theirs up. They have to pay for the advertisement back. Because
Do they have to?
They own that space for a certain time.
the advertisement to get money for themselves.
But that's actually something that stays. Like the advertisement is anything that stays for that time.
Okay, fine. So we have a few different opinions. We have 50-50, we have 0, we have 250, we have 5,000. Okay, so in order to understand a little bit of how this gets crafted in halacha, we have to analyze primarily two cases in Gemara, and we have to see how Rashi and Tosfot deal with these two cases, and then we could look at a little bit of how the Shulchan Aruch, or really maybe how some of the Acharonim deal with the topic to get a little bit of a havana of how to craft such a psak. That's what I want to do tonight. I want to go through with you the psak of Bedin, and I think that aside from it being an interesting thing, it also shows us a lot of the intricacy in what goes on in behind closed doors. And when these things get dirty, there's a lot of chokhmah that goes into it. It's not just people just making things up and just whip things out of a hat. Okay, so let's go. We have two cases of the Gemara. I have two copies over here. I have a copy in Hebrew if someone wants to read it in Hebrew. I have a copy in English if someone wants to go ahead and follow along in English. See, I think most people are English over here. Where are we holding? I have a Hebrew and English also. The Hebrew also has English in it. Here, I'll see. I guess we'll do the English part. Does anyone have extra English? Oh no, I have one. Perfect. Okay. Does anyone need more? Does anyone need more copies? You need one? You want to? Okay. 2 pages. לא, זה עברית וגם אנגלית. אבל יוסי, אם אתה רוצה, קח את זה. יוסי, אם אתה רוצה, קח את זה, אוקיי? Oh wait, Ephraim, there's another one for him. Okay, so let's analyze these two cases. What in the world did I just do? Okay. Right, from flyer to fire, the Lag BaOmer bus that sparked the Din Torah, halachic analysis of Hasagat Gvul, clientele ownership, and fair competition in business. So let's look at this case, the Gemara in Kedushin 59a. Right? The Gemara relates, Rav Gidel haya me'apech be'hi'ara. Rav Gidel was engaging in the acquisition of a certain plot. Azar Rabbi Abba, Rav Abba, in the meantime went and purchased it. Okay? So then, Rav Gidl went to complain about it to Rav Abba and to Rav Zera. Rav Zera went to complain about it to Rav Abba. Rav Yitzchak Nafka said to him, wait until Rav Abba ascends to visit us for a pilgrimage in the festival, when we will hear the festival sermon, of which occasionally we will discuss this matter with him. When Rav Abba ascended, so this is Rav Abba that came, so again, it's in the case, Rav Gidl was trying to buy a piece of land. And Rav Abba went ahead and Rabbi Abba went ahead and bought it before him. So Rav Gidl got upset. He told the rabbis. The rabbi said, okay, when he comes to the Chagim, we'll make a shiur about it and we'll address it to him. So Rav Abba comes to Yamin Oraim. When Rav Abba ascended, Rav Yitzchak Nafka found him and said to him, Amar le, he said, Ani mehapech b'charara u'ba acher u'natla himena mai. If a pauper is engaging in the acquisition of a loaf of bread that he found, and another came and took it from him, what's the halacha? Right, he's asking like a trick question. So Rav Abba responded, he said to him, Amar le nikar rasha. He's considered to be a rasha. The one who took it from him is considered to be wicked. So Rav Yitzchak Nafka said, but if so, what is the reason that master acted this way? You did the same thing. He's like, oh, I didn't know, I'm so sorry, and I didn't know he was looking for it. Okay, so we have already one case in the Gemara in which we see, right, Rav Gidl is looking for a piece of land. Rav Abba goes ahead and purchases it, buys it first. Rav Abba admits that is the act of a rasha. You're considered to be a rasha.
Therefore, what? He has to pay?
Oh, good question. Very good. Therefore, what? So the halacha really is, he doesn't have to pay. He's considered to be a rasha, but there's no chiyuv mamon, because as I said, only when we talk about gezela, stealing, when there's an isser of stealing, then all of a sudden we look at money. Oh, you stole? How much do you owe him back? When you're called a rasha, there's not necessarily a chiyuv mamon over there. If you look at the Shulchan Aruch, I have this on the Hebrew pages. If someone has it in front of him, it says "Hamechazer achar davar liknot." Right, Siman Reish Lamed Zayin. This is not in the English. This is only in the Hebrew. I read it out loud. Hamechazer achar davar liknoto. Someone is trying to, like we said in our case, someone is trying to buy something. Uba acher. Ben bekarka, whether land b'metaltelin uba acher bekano. Someone else comes and buys it first. Nikra rasha. He's considered to be a rasha. 1 second. If you look at the bottom, he explains what does it mean a rasha. It says in small lines over here, machrizin alav bebet hakneset she'asa ma'aser rasha. So he says that, I believe this is the Rama. The Rama says that we actually say no, it's not the Rama. That's Shulchan Aruch. It says that we actually announce in shul he's a rasha. So the nafkamina is, what does it mean he's a rasha? It means that you're allowed to say in shul, this guy is a rasha. He purchased something that someone else was about to purchase. Okay, not something that we want to be. But as, remind me your name? Yechiel. What Yechiel is saying, there's no chiyuv mamon. He's just a rasha. Okay, so that was the first case, yes.
So, Rabbi Gidl could have came back with a counter offer and raised his price, right?
Rav Gidl, but then Rav Gidl would have had to pay more money.
Right.
Okay, maybe.
So how does it work, I guess, nowadays when you have like open houses and everyone is competing with one another? You're supposed to say, okay, you put it first and then walk away?
So it depends. If you know that someone is for sure trying to look into something, maybe ask a shayla, find out, like what ask your Rav.
The Rabbi said, I know.
Well, yeah, so here the Rav said he didn't know, but he's talking about if you do know. So if you do know that someone else is looking at something, it might not be the easiest thing to go ahead and just say, I'm gonna go ahead and buy it. I'm gonna go ahead and, if I know that you're about to close on something, let's say that you're interested, not open house, because open house is open for everyone. If I know you're about to make a closing, and I call, either, I would say you know that you're going to buy it. I would say not just an offer. I would say, because we're talking about over here that the guy actually buys it. It's not just an offer. But I know that you want to buy something, and I go to that. Oh, come sell it to me. That's already a din of rasha, right? So we said there's no what? What? What do you mean?
When you pull out of the deal, the other guy pull out of the deal, you get the
Okay, that's if you pull out of the deal. Okay, fine, but that's not what we're talking about. As of now, we have one case of the Gemara that talks about a din of someone is about to buy something, someone took it, it's going to be a rasha. Let's look at another case right now. We're going to read it inside, and we're going to see how Tosfot is going to play around with these cases. Just in order to understand Tosfot, let's read this case together. Okay, we could skip the next part with Rav Gidel, it's not important. Gemara Baba Batra, 21b. Amar Rav Huna said, Hi Bar Mevoa. There's a second, it's page number 2, okay, in the English. Again, Amar Rav Huna said, Hi Bar Mevoa. There was a certain resident of an alleyway, De'uki Reicha. He set up a mill, Fe'ata Bar Mevoa, right, and in that alleyway, and earned his living grinding grain for people. And subsequently, another resident of the alleyway came and set a mill next to his. He opened up, he set up a mill right near him. Right, the halacha is that one may prevent him from doing so if he wishes. You are disturbing, you could tell him, you are disturbing my livelihood by taking my customers. So we see another case. Guy has a mill. Someone else wants to open up a mill right near him. You're allowed to go ahead and tell Bedin, get this. You're allowed to tell him, go fly a kite. Get out of my place because you are disrupting my life. You are disrupting my livelihood. Even nowadays, yeah. So nowadays, in terms of encroachment, you have to. It depends a little bit on what kind of city you live in. Are you the only one that does it? It depends. When you're living in a city with so many stores and so many people, you don't necessarily have such an encroachment. When it's a smaller thing, when it's a smaller situation, I think then you do have a din of encroachment, and then that could be more of a shaila. So the Gemara asks, Leah Misayele. When the Gemara asks Leah Misayele, the Gemara is asking, oh wait, maybe I have a case that could be a precedent. That could be, right, how do you say precedent? How do you describe it? Like another case that could be an example for, like a legal precedent for what we just said. So he says, the Gemara suggests, let us say that the Braita supports this opinion. What's the case of the Braita? It says, Marchikin mitzudat hadag min hadag, kimno ritzat hadag. In Hebrew, it sounds like a lot of the word dadag, but you say, we'll read it, is one must distance fish traps from other fish traps, as far as the fish travel, the distance from which the fish will travel. The Gemara asks, how much is that distance? Rabbi Bar Rav Huna says, up to a parsa, right, which is like, I think 70, which is maybe 70 feet or something like that. This indicates that one must distance himself from a place where another has established his business. The Gemara responds, no, this is no proof. Why? It sounds like a very good proof. Right, again, what's the case of the fish? Back in the day, a lot of people make business from fish. They used to you go to the ocean, put a big net, they used to catch fish. So the question is, let's say Binyamin has a net right over here. Is Yechiel allowed to go ahead and put a net right near it? The answer is no. Why? Because a lot of the fish, they get trapped in the net, they'll also get trapped in his net. So he says, wait, that sounds like a good legal precedent for the laws of encroachment, of you can't have a bit just like the windmill, just like the mill, right? The Gemara wants to try to associate the two. The Gemara says, no, it's not. Why? Because fish are different as they look around. One fish explores the area ahead of the others, indicating to them where to go. Once they encounter the first trap, they may not approach the second. Okay, we'll get to this Havana a little bit more. But the Gemara says, but there's something about the fish case that's like more. That's more than just opening up a business near someone else's, because by the fish, the fact that there's one dead fish already over there, more fish come to that area, and therefore if Yechiel opens up a trap right near Binyamin's trap, then he will definitely be taking his people. I want to think about this idea of fish, traps.
More similar to this case.
Oh, very good, very good. Okay, give me a similarity, Yechiel.
In the bus case, you're in an area where there are going to be people already, so you know there's going to be business.
Very good. Very good. The flyers are the traps. Very good. Right. So we see right now where we're building up. We have two different cases. Okay, good. So this is just a little spoiler. What I just said. Keep that in mind. we're going to get into this again, Bezrat Hashem. Okay, so we have two different cases. The first case of a rasha. Second case, a case where there's actually a legal tviyah, that's a legal claim that says you get away from here because by you coming here, you'd be encroaching. Right? That would be the case of like the mill. Then there's this third case, which is like the fish, which is actually more. It says marchikin. It also says that you have pushed away, but the Gemara seems to say that's a higher level of pushing away. It's not just like the Gemara says it's not just a case of like encroachment. It's like no, you're actually taking away my people. So we have three levels over here: rasha, encroachment, and the case of the fish, which seems to be almost like stealing. Let's look how Tosfot deals with this. So in the next page, for those who have the English, I have the Tosfot in Kedushin, page 3. Anyone has page 3? Page 3 and page 4. I have Tosfot broken down into steps. Mamash into very easy steps. We'll do it together in English. We'll go through the Tosafot. I'm going to explain it outside. It's not so hard. We'll just give a few steps. And then we'll try to see if we can get a little bit of a Havana of how to go ahead and set up our case. Okay, everyone's ready? Okay, so let's take a look at page 3. Okay? The Gemara says we're back in the case of the Kedushin, the case of Rav Gidl, who went ahead and wanted to buy a property, and Rav Abba went ahead and snatched the property. He's bought it first, and we said that was a case of like a poor person who's trying to find a loaf of bread, and the halacha is if someone steals it from him, he's considered to be a rasha. Yechiel pointed out right away, rasha, there's no chiyuv mamon. It's just considered to be a rasha, and we saw supplementary to that in shul you're actually allowed to say this person is a rasha. So it's not just like a rasha, there's something more substantive to that titular status. Tosfot asks, Tosfot's first explanation. What's good about this is you'll see what Tosfot is doing before he even says it, so you're not going to lose the train, but I recommend you follow along with me on the page, that way you'll see where I'm going with this. Explanation. Rashi establishes the case by a cake, which is that loaf of bread. It had to be a case of hefker, which means it didn't belong to anyone. Right? So Rashi says that anytime you consider someone to be a rasha, it has to be a case where the item that was being taken was the item from hefker. Like the case of the land. I mean, the land is not really hefker though, but whatever. That's how Rashi understood it. Tosfot says, there's a problem with this, right? Introduction to question 1. There's a problem with this. From the Mishnah in Shnai Mochazin, which rules that if Reuven sees a mitzvah and falls on it, or spreads his cloak over it, and Shimon comes and takes it, it belongs to Shimon. Which means, Tosfot is asking, we see, again, Reuven sees a lost object on the floor. Okay, so let's say I see this lost object on the floor, and I'm about to go ahead and I even spread my cloak on it, and then, please snatch this. He snatches it away, it belongs to him. Right? So Tosfot is saying, Rashi, you see, it belongs to Shimon. And he asks another question like that. And B, right? Question number 2. If a poor person collects a bit of pe'ah and spreads his cloak over it, we may take it away from him. Why is that? Why is he not like a poor man who's turning over for the loaf and he's considered to be a rasha? Right? So therefore, Rabbeinu Tam, Tosfot argues with Rashi. He says, really, no. The whole idea of aniyah me'apech b'chara, a poor person is looking for a loaf of bread that makes you a rasha, is not when it's hefker. He says when it's hefker, Tosfot argues with Rashi, he says, hefker belongs to everyone. So I took it, you took it, there's no rasha, he's not a rasha, there's no rasha over here, but it's hefker. Tosfot says, no, it's only considered to be a rasha if you're going into your friend's livelihood, not like if it's hefker, but it's in the middle of the street. If like the case of Rav Gidl, if I know that you're looking to buy a land, I know that you're looking to buy something, and you want to make a business, and I go into your life and I try to take it away from you, that's when I'm considered to be a rasha. That's what Tosafot says. So Rabbeinu Tam therefore explains, I'm going to just read it out loud, I'm in item E. Rabbeinu Tam therefore explains that the Isser of Aniyah Me'apech B'charara that is mentioned here is confined to where the poor man wants to earn money by being hired, or he wants to purchase something, and where his friend gets it first, like the case of Rav Gidl. That is why he's called a rasha. Because why should you go for the thing that your friend is taking the trouble to obtain? Right? That's Tosfot's logic is, your friend is looking for something, you're going into his livelihood, you're considered to be a rasha. Now let's Yeah, let's apply that in our case for a second. We have Reuven and Shimon. Reuven wants to make a bus to Meron. Shimon takes it away. Is Shimon going into his livelihood? Yes. So it seems like from Tosafot. Could you say that he's considered to be a Rasha?
Yes.
It definitely sounds like it. But then Tosafot has a question on himself. And he says, right, look at item G, right? If you look on the page, this is page 4 out of 4. Item G, I have a G on the side. Yeah, you have a question?
If someone else is going into someone else's livelihood, then person A is going inside person A is going inside person B's livelihood.
Yes.
Then isn't person A stealing?
Not necessarily. It depends on what the claim is. Because just like the case of Rav Gidl, did Rav Gidl steal from Rav Abba? Sorry, did Rav Abba steal from Rav Gidl? No, but he did go into his livelihood, right? Because Rav Gidl wanted to buy a house. He was looking to buy a house. Rav Abba bought it from him. According to Tosafot, that's the typical case of Rasha. He's a Rasha, but it's not considered to be stealing, right? So that's the first level. Now we're going to get into the second case where our good friend Binyamin mentioned the idea with the fish, but we're going to get there slowly. Tosfot now asks, item G. The question arises, however, from the case of Lo Yachpor, where the Gemara says that one must distance himself from the fish as far as they dart, even though they're a hefker. So it says, wait, hold on. Tosos just argued at the Rashi and said, Aniyah mabich b'charara is only when you're going to someone's livelihood. But the fish is hefker. The fish in the sea, they don't belong to me. They don't belong to Reuven. They don't belong to Shimon. They don't belong to anyone. So fine, he made a trap. We'll use the same name. Reuven made a trap. He put a dead fish inside his. Shimon put a trap right near it. And they're going into Shimon's trap. Could Shimon now claim, what do you mean? It's hefker. I'm not taking from your livelihood. It doesn't belong to you. What? Okay, let's say it wasn't Daled Amot. Let's say it was 5 Amot. Good question. Let's say it was 5 Amot.
It's like almost his already. It's like
he
got something to get into the fish into his own thing. It's like
very good. I mean, it's what Tosfot says. Yeah.
More of like an emotional standpoint?
No, it's not. It's not. And I'll read it in Tosfot, and then you'll see it clearly. The Gemara says, no. The Gemara says an answer, right? Item H. Like what I'm saying, it seems that the reason here that it's usher to do so, even though it's hefker, is because he is encroaching on his friend's livelihood. He is going into his friend's, like you're going into his business. He's a fisherman. Yeah, it's hefker. Yeah, the whole sea. There are many fish in the sea. What? Yeah, he is a fisherman. Yeah, but you're going into his business.
When you put that net, right? When Shimon puts the net,
yes.
Trap,
Yeah.
Is Reuven not going to get any fish, or it's?
He will get.
He will get also. So I get from like the livelihood perspective, but also, isn't like competition good for like the consumer side because it lowers prices?
Okay, hold on. But I want to get to one more thing before I get to there. Well, one more thing. Item I. Moreover, right? V'od Omer Rabbeinu Meir Avishal Rabbeinu Tam. Rabbeinu Tam's father gives clarity on this point as well. He says the Mari Bedag Met, where the fish mentioned there, the one in the trap is dead. Shekach derech hadayagim la'asim b'mtsudot dag met, v'hadagim mitasfim sham saviv oto adag. Because it is the way that fishermen to place the dead fish in their nets to attract all the local fish to their nets. And since Reuven, as bait, very good. And since Reuven was the first to cast his net, right? Reuven, this fits well. Reuven was first to cast his net, and due to his efforts, all the fish were bound to collect around his net. If Shimon were to cast his net, it would be akin to stealing from him. Right, this is the first time we see the word gezel. So now we're not talking about Rasha anymore. I read it in Hebrew, hu ki'ilu gozelo. It's as if he stole from him. In which the case Reuben is entitled to tell him he must go and fish somewhere else. So Tosafot is giving clarity to the Gemara, right? The Gemara tried to bring this as a proof for encroachment, and Tosafot is saying no. He's giving a reason why this is worse than encroachment. This is worse than opening up a windmill by the mill. You could tell the guy to go fly a kite. Here, he's saying it's more than you could tell the guy. It's ki'ilu gozel. It's as if you stole from him. And my question now is, this case of the bus driver, what do you think? Is it more like case A, like the case of Aniya Ma'abich B'Charara, the case of Rav Yidlo where he's a Rasha? Is he a Rasha or is he a stealer? That's my question. Is he a Rasha or is he a stealer? Stealer, Rasha.
Stealer, Russia. Stealer, both.
Both. In other words, okay, Binyamin, right? You said this very well. If you look at the last case, it's actually very akin to our case with the bus driver.
That's not what I said.
You didn't say that? What did you say?
I said the thing with that they shouldn't get the 5,000.
No. Before that, you wanted to say that the fish are like the travelers, right? No, who said that? No, someone else. Someone else said that. Okay, who said that? Well, I said that. No, Yechiel. Maybe Yechiel was saying that. Maybe Yechiel was saying that. Is that you have the dead fish, like Rabbeinu Tam's father is learning. The dead fish is like the advertisement.
Shout it out from there.
Someone shouted out from there, yeah.
The flyer is a trap.
That's right. The flyers are like the trap. That's right. So you have the flyers are like a trap, and you have the customers are like the fish. And if you really want to put a parallel, it seems like if I want to take Tosfot's words and put them to our case, Reuven could tell Shimon, go fly a kite from here because you went ahead and stole from me. Ki'ilu, it is akin to stealing. Ki'ilu gozelo. It's as if he stole from him. Oh, that's the word. Chazak Baruch. Very good. Why is it? What does ki'ilu mean? And you should know, all the Acharonim trying to understand, Tosfot, what do you mean by ki'ilu? Because run your name? Baruch Chai. The ramifications of what Baruch Chai is asking is the exact ramifications of our case. If ki'ilu means you actually stole, then what? Chiyuv hashava. You have a chiyuv to return, and you have a chiyuv to spend all 5,000 or 5,250, however you want to play it. But there's a very big chiyuv. If it's ki'ilu, it's as if he stole. So then, you're back to that. It's hefker. Maybe you're just a Rasha. Like, I don't know. It's not like it didn't belong to you. It didn't belong to someone else. You weren't trying to get that. The fish came, and it's not like you went to a person's life. How do you understand the words ki'ilu?
It's more of like, it's not yours yet, but if it wasn't for me, it was gonna be yours. But I took it retroactively. I took it from you.
It's retroactive. Retroactive that you took it.
If it wasn't for me, it would have been yours. So before it was yours, I came and made it not yours.
That's right. So the question is, where does that fall into halacha? Very good. Where does that fall? Are you a Rasha? Are you a guy? So the only word we have to describe this now is like if you're paying attention, we're getting to mamash a very nuanceable point of, is he a stealer? Is he not a stealer? Is he a Rasha? So it seems like there is Rasha and versus stealer, and then even within stealer, we're not sure because Tosfot says ki'ilu. There's a machloket here amongst the Acharonim. Of what does Tosfot? Some people say that when Tosfot says ki'ilu gozlo, it means that he's allowed to go ahead, go to Bedin, right? Reuven is allowed to go to Bedin and say, you see the fish that he has in his nets? They're mine. And he has to go ahead and pay me for them. But then there are a bunch of other mefarshim, like whatever, we're not going to have to look at it. If you look at the Divrei Malkiel on the Hebrew, I only have this on the Hebrew. The Divrei Malkiel says that no. If anyone wants to follow me on the Divrei Malkiel on the fifth line, first line is Yafeh. I'm going to read. Right. Lani adaiti. Right. It's the Yafeh lani adaiti deha dekofin b'mitzuda dag leharchik. That we force the fishermen to go ahead and put the nets away from the other fish. Hurak kodem sheyotzadu. That's only before he went ahead and put the trap. After you went ahead and trapped them, you can't go ahead and take it out of his hands. You do not go ahead and take beyadayim. You're not allowed to go ahead and take it away from his hands. You're allowed to go ahead and be ma'akiv. You could prevent him from coming there. Avar matzra, right? Achrina, the balabata, just like the case with the mill. You're allowed to go ahead and prevent him from going there. Not b'torat chiyuv. There's no chiyuv mamon. So the Divrei Malkiel, one of the Achronim say, there's no chiyuv hashava over here. The Pitrei Tshuva on the bottom goes about it in much depth. I'm not going to get into it. Basically, he calls out all the people that say that you actually have to return. He says, no, you can't go out and return. You can't say you have to. There's no chiyuv over here because it's ki'ilu gazlo. There's no real gezel. Okay, fine. So based on what we learned, what does it sound like the halacha is? It's a machloket, but what's it called? But the Pitrei Tshuva, the Pitrei Tshuva says no. He says really you have to say that the halacha is he's not considered to be a gazlan. In other words, it's ki'ilu gazlo. There's no chiyuv hashava. That means there's no requirement to pay money, not on the fisher net, and it seems like over here too. And not with the signs also. If we want to go ahead and make an exact parallel between the fish case, which sounds very similar, and the Lag BaOmer bus case, really, the halacha is there's no real chiyuv mamon. However, before I ask you a question, is he a Rasha or is he a Gazlan? Or this Kagan, whatever?
When Tosfot says Kilu Gzela,
Kilu Gazela,
does he also mean he's a Rasha and Kilu Gazel?
Very good. Yechil's getting my point. So I was a little bit deceptive. Is he this or that? Binyamin pointed that right away. Maybe he's both. You know what I mean? Maybe you're a Rasha and you're Kilu Gazlo. And the halacha is yeah, you're right. You're really both. And Yechil is picking this up right away also. Really, he is both. This person, Shimon, he is Ki'ilu Gazlo and he's a Rasha. So essentially, Ki'ilu Gazlo, we're going to follow the Pischei Tshuva that says there's no real Tviyat Mamon. That means because it's only Ki'ilu, there's no Chiyuv Hashava. You're right. So in terms of an amount, a definite amount, I cannot really come and tell you if there is a definite amount that he owes him regarding Gezela. But I could tell you, he's still considered to be a Rasha. That's definitely true. He is considered to be a Rasha. Therefore, if Shimon wants to eliminate that status of Rasha, he has to appease Reuven. He has to make up, in other words, he has to, if he wants to get out of this thing of Rasha, he has to go ahead and work out a certain number. He has to work out a certain number between Reuven, that Reuven will appease him. And they talk about how to work out this number. There's a whole segment about it, how to work this out. We're not going to do that into, but it has to be that both parties are going to be okay. Or at least Reuven has to be okay with it at the end of the day. And when Shimon does it, he has to show remorse when he does it. It means if he doesn't show remorse, they say if he just trying to get out of Russia, it doesn't work. He has to actually give an amount that's going to show, I feel bad for what I did. I'm getting a little Igor left already, but again, I'm not saying that it's the whole thing, but there is an amount. What that amount is, you and I might not know. That is something that they will have to work on specifically with one another. That is a negotiation, because that is already not midin gazlan, because of here there's no gizela over here. This is ki'ilu gazlo, gazal chavero. There's no chiyuv hashava over here. There is a chiyuv for Shimon to get rid of his status of gazlan, of rasha, and that he could only do upon a discussion, upon back and forth with Reuven, and that I leave them to do. When they get to their number, then we will know that he is not considered to be a rasha anymore. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. And then Rabbi Chanan Shabbat Tagdir Torah ve'yadir. Beautiful. Chazak. Amen.